Hello, I'm Philip Jacobus. It's August 5th at 9 a.m. I'm here at my home in Woodstock, New York. Thanks so much for joining me. Today I'm joined by Felix Donoghue in India, but before we visit with Felix, let's check out several of the latest news items in healthcare business news online. First, we see from the August issue of our print magazine, Healthcare Business News magazine, there's a contribution from Dan Vukovich in which he suggests that it's time for a revolution in healthcare supply chain. Dan is the president, or he's the CEO of the Association of Medical Device Reprocessors. This is a really interesting story. You should read it. And next, last week we talked about, or Monday we talked about Varian being purchased by Siemens. Now we see that the China-based medical equipment manufacturer United Imaging has opened a new state-of-the-art factory and it's expanded its service in Houston, Texas. So there's a lot happening, interesting. Read that story. Lest I be terminated for not reminding you, remember to sign up for our free online news. You certainly won't be sorry you did. Hi, I'd like to welcome my guest, Felix Donoghue from India. Felix, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Phil. It's great to be here.
You know, Felix and I have known each other for a long time. It's got to be more than 20 years, doesn't it, Felix?
Yep. Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah.
And Felix, how long have you been? Now, Felix, ladies and gentlemen, owns the company FX Rays and Imaging. He is the owner of that company and works together with his wife, not far from Goa. What's the name of your town, Felix?
It's Belgaum.
I see. And how many people live in Belgaum?
I think we're about 1 million.
I see. And by Indian standards, that's a small town, is that right?
Yeah, that's a very small town.
Okay. You specialize in replacement image intensifiers and power supplies, mostly for C-arms, is that correct?
That's correct.
And you distribute throughout India for the most part. How's the supply chain in India? When you have to ship an image intensifier or power supply, how do you do it?
Well, we normally use either FedEx or DHL or one of the courier companies. But since we're located in a tier 3 city, it's a little more time consuming to ship from. But luckily now we've got a fully functional airport at Belgaum, which sees about almost 11 flights a day. So we're using the flights as and when they'll open up again. So shipping will be faster.
I see. So if you're shipping something to Delhi or to Mumbai, how long does it take?
Mumbai is overnight.
I see.
Delhi is the next day delivery. That's 2 days.
Right.
And since Belgaum is uniquely positioned, it's 500 kilometers from Mumbai, 500 from Bangalore, and 500 from Hyderabad. So we are literally at the center of a triangle of all the major metros, with only Delhi and Calcutta being the furthest.
I see. So that's convenient. What's it like in Belgaum right now in terms of the coronavirus, the pandemic? How are people reacting?
Well, we've got a little over 3,500 confirmed cases in the city since March. And it's at the moment it's growing at about 200 a day. But most of them are asymptomatic. Maybe about 10-15% need hospitalization, and there in thankfully very few fatalities.
I see. Do people at the grocery store, are restaurants open?
Restaurants are partially open to limited numbers, so they take in about 30% of their intake. They are only allowed 30% of the intake.
I see.
And at the neighborhood grocery store, well, with 1 million population, It's quite a task to keep some distancing, but we do try. And masks also, some people still are a little careless, but most do wear masks.
And what about what about the availability of groceries? Is there any sort of are there shortages?
Oh no, in fact, I must say our government excelled on that point, surprising a lot of people in the country that they did so. They did a wonderful job. We had 2 vehicles coming literally door to door, right through the most severe lockdown, which was in the month of March, April, and May. We literally had grocery vans literally coming up to my front door because we live in a separate bungalow. So they just come right into our lane and, honk, and you could just go out and pick up whatever you want, fresh vegetables, grain, whatever you wanted.
I see. What about the mental attitude in that you're aware of in India? Are people upbeat? Are they nervous about the future? What do you think?
A few of the senior citizens are a little nervous about going out because they are at a higher risk.
Right.
But most of the youngsters, my age group and younger than me, we're just following a lot of protocols like sanitizing the hands. We have sanitizers in the car, we have sanitizers at the front door, we have sanitizers in the factory. We literally spray all the machinery which come in for repairs, the tubes that come in for repairs, we spray them with basilol, which is a good disinfectant. We leave them aside for 24 hours. And now we're setting up a UVC wand so we can, scan everything with UVC. So everybody's sort of managing. So there's not much of a negative feeling that we get, at least not in our town. But most of the places, people are back to work.
And what about the economy in India? Has it suffered? Is it suffering? Do you think it will suffer in the future?
The economy right now is a little bit on the downside, but that's a lot of factors in it because our supply chains, some part of the supply chain is working, some part is not working. So things are not flowing as smoothly as they used to. The government's taken some steps in trying to prioritize a lot of essential services, give us movement passes and things like that. So the economy would bounce back because we are hoping to cash in on China's loss as such. So trying to make most of the things available manufactured in India. And I think we have a good chance of competing and grabbing a share of that pie.
Yes, so that's interesting that you bring up China because China is right now in a dispute with India over territory, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, that's politics.
Yes, politics. Never a dull moment in politics.
No.
Felix, you're a wonderful person, and I'm glad things are going so well for you. Good things happen to good people. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you, Phil. It was lovely to see you after a long time. Please convey our best wishes to your wife, Barbara, and hopefully we'll see you the next time we're in New York.